I'm back to review Big Finish's latest release in the War Doctor line, Battlefield. Sorry, I'm confusing the battle stories. Battlegrounds, it's Battlegrounds. The oldest question in the universe is no longer Doctor Who. It's actually, why haven't you subscribed to Madman with a Box? Now, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think our content is pretty okay. But if you support it, you can do so by subscribing to the channel. You'll be notified whenever we release more bangers like these. I mean, just look at them. Look at the stuff you're missing out on because you didn't subscribe. Look at this one in particular. Amazing, isn't it? So we'd appreciate your support of our channel by subscribing to it, or else I'm going to make James Corden the 14th Doctor. Hello and welcome back to Madmen with a Box. I'm one of the Madmen, Oz Chris, here to talk about The War Doctor Begins Battlegrounds, the third volume in the War Doctor Begins series, the 7th, I believe, overall for The War Doctor. Before I even start, I will just apologise for the more terrible than usual background audio. It is raining quite a lot. The birds are out for some reason. You'd think they'd go into somewhere, nice and warm and shut up. I can't control nature. I live in Australia. We fear the animals here. But anyway, The War Doctor Begins Battlegrounds. This came out on the 10th of May 2022. It's comprised of 3 stories. As usual, I'm going to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. So let's get into this discussion. Starting off with the first story, The Keeper of Light by Phil Mulrine. The Doctor and his faithful companion are on the trail of strange psionic signals. At a remote coastal cottage, holidaymakers David and Dorothy think there's something strange about the lighthouse, but the Doctor can't shake the sense of an even bigger mystery to solve. This one was okay. It's a nice story. I do like the ending of this story. This is the first of 2 stories where the ending was probably some of the best moments of that story, but overall the story, I think it was fine. I feel like it kind of slowed down in a lot of parts, particularly somewhere towards the middle. It kind of lost me a bit with how slow it kind of got, but I think overall it was a fine story for what it was. But yeah, the ending, the twist of what actually was happening, I was really surprised at that. It's I get it. They're seeing it all put together, essentially with a certain character, portrayed by Emma Campbell-Jones, who, for Doctor Who fans, you would know played Cass, the woman who would rather not be saved by the 8th Doctor in Night of the Doctor. Is there a relation? I'm not gonna say. Is the character a sister to Cass? You'd have to listen to it. Like I said, I'm not spoiling anything. But I liked her character in that. I kind of liked everything about this, even though it was kind of fine and it did kind of drag on in parts. It was okay overall. So moving on to our second story, Timosis by Rossa McPhillips. Timosis, more like Timosus. I'm sorry, I apologize. That was terrible. Anyway, summary. Fighting alongside the Time Lords against their common enemies, some Thals have realized that this collaboration is not between equals. When his new battleship is stolen, the War Doctor must convince his old allies that they are on the same side. So, I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen a lot of the Thals in this fight against in the Time War, considering their history with the Daleks, unless there's some other Time War related stories in Gallifrey Time War, or Susan's War, or the first 4 War Doctor box sets where the Thals are involved in some great capacity. I haven't listened to them, so I wouldn't know, but from going into this, I'm surprised that the Thals didn't have more of a part to play in the Time War, and I can kind of see why with their thoughts on the Time Lords and this story. Again, this story was fine. It was okay. I enjoyed the cast in this one as well. Everyone did a good job, but overall it was a fine story. Pacing was definitely a bit better in this one. Overall it was okay. And that leads us to our finale with Rewind by Timothy X Attack. Lacuna is on the brink of destruction, attacked by a new breed of Dalek. But every day it is pulled back from the brink and everyone prepares to live through the end of their world once again. One strange man, alone in his castle, holds the key to Lacuna's ultimate salvation, or its annihilation. Now, remember how I said with The Keeper of the Light, the ending was like the biggest, like, was one of the best moments of that story? This is the same for Rewind. So essentially, without giving too much away, it's a time loop story. Everyone is repeating the same day. But unlike with other kind of like time loops where they don't realize it until like the end, like sometimes it's just time loop stories, the day repeats, but everyone just kind of doesn't know until they start putting the pieces together, or there's always just like the one character that knows that time is rewinding. Everyone else is just treating it as if this is just the normal day. They don't know that they're repeating the same day numerous times. For this one, everyone on Lacuna is experiencing this time loop. So they're going through, like, I think it was like over, by the end of the story, like 400 something days of them repeating the same day over and over again. So they have this knowledge, but they just keep repeating it. Even with like the knowledge that they gain, they can't escape it. The only variable there is the Doctor. And like it says in the story, there's a new breed of Dalek, the Berserker Daleks. I really enjoy them. Really interesting concept. They're Daleks where you have to destroy every remnant of it, because their corpses can just reconstruct themselves. So they're essentially kind of immortal to a degree. But I really like the Berserker Daleks. But overall, the story, this was probably the standout one. I really enjoyed the story. The companion, the person that plays off the Doctor in this one, Ignis Abel, portrayed by Sarah Moss. I think she did a fantastic job. Real good companion material. Honestly, like, I know the War Doctor doesn't really have a companion because it's just him going solo, but if he did, Ignis would be one of the greats. But overall, yeah, this was the standout story of this box set. It was my favorite. The ending of this, because it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, and I was just like, as soon as it happens, it just goes like, the story ends, and then it's just silence for like a few seconds before the War Doctor theme plays. I'm like, really? That's how you're gonna end it? It's not even like a disappointing end. It was actually like a really surprised kind of like, wow, that's kind of clever how you ended it, because of like how everything was set up to that ending, and playing off of it. I absolutely enjoyed it, and like I said, I was not disappointed. It's like, oh, it's a cliffhanger. Oh, whoa. Well, why would you end it on a cliffhanger? That's terrible. But no, I really enjoyed it. Whether they're going to continue with that, I feel like if there's a continuation to that story, I'd be fine with it. But I feel like it works just well by itself. It doesn't need, even with that kind of cliffhanger-ish like ending, it just works amazingly by itself. So yeah, Rewind was my favorite story. Absolutely loved it. Pacing of it was great. All the characters in it were great, especially Ignis. And I will say, I know a lot of people, like, okay, overall with like the box set, and I know a lot of people have problems with The War Doctor Begins, with showing like why is he like Doctor no more? He's still kind of the Doctor. I'm like, well, that's kind of the point with The War Doctor Begins. He's molding himself to the warrior, like, but he's still got the traits of the Doctor, because he's had 8 incarnations, like, where he's been the Doctor. It's just not going to go away like that. So it's showing him going through the having to make the difficult choices, because now he has put himself into the Time War. So that is what it's building up. I know, yeah, a lot of people have had some kind of criticisms of that. It's like, well, he's still the Doctor. What's this whole Doctor no more? And he's a warrior. He's forsaken his name. Like, yeah, the whole point of this box set is that it's supposed to be the early days for him. So, you know, he's still gonna get like the Doctorish like aspects that he's had for 8 incarnations prior. So it's not gonna fully go away, but you still see the warrior parts starting to mold together. So especially with Rewind, with this story, it's really starting to show he has to make the difficult decisions more than he usually would have to as like any other version of himself. So yeah, I think I'm still fine with like The War Doctor Begins. Like, yeah, I know eventually he will end up being more of the warrior. Maybe that's how he is in the first 4 box sets where John Hurt reprised the role. Have not listened to them yet. I probably will one day. But overall, I've been enjoying the War Doctor Begins series, and Battlegrounds is another good one. If I had to rate it, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, 7.5. I am content with that rating. I think everyone did a great job. Jonathan Carley, as usual, and I've said this a lot. My co-hosts have said this a lot. Absolutely phenomenal job as the War Doctor. Like, is he just John Hurt in disguise? Like, did John Hurt not pass away? Did he just decide to? Did he actually just regenerate himself? And because no, Jonathan has been doing such a fantastic job as the War Doctor, and it's always stellar to hear him in these box sets. So overall, that's my review, my thoughts on The War Doctor Begins Battlegrounds. Thank you all for watching. Go check out any of the previous reviews I've done by myself or with a co-host. I know I did one with one of my co-hosts. Check out the videos that I've done as the trio, as the Madmen with the Box. And reminder, we now do our main show together live on Wednesdays at, I think it's 11:30 p.m. American time. Was that EST? It's one of those times. So stay tuned for that. So that's when we're going to be talking about our topics. I know the one we just would have done or doing today, either doing today or have already done, depending on when I release this. Talking about the 5 Doctors with a special guest with us. So make sure you tune into that, or if you have already, thank you for watching that. But I'm rambling at this point, so see ya. Ciao.